Hey everyone, this is Friedel Hacker AJ Raven with this week's recap and review of Midnight Texas season number 1, episode number 3, which is titled Lemuel and Unchained. And as you can tell from the title, this episode is about the vampire Lemuel or Lem, and we get to find out how he was turned and what he has gone through in life and how he got the power to leech energy, so he doesn't necessarily have to drink or hunt for blood to survive. So the episode opened with this. Apparently, Creek and Manfred did the deed. But yeah, I'm not really invested in these two. I like them as characters, but I don't find them interesting as a couple just yet because it feels quite cliche that we have a bad boy over here or someone who's who is thought of a bad boy by the father of the girl. So yeah, Greek's father thinks that he's a bad boy, and Greek is hooking up with him for whatever reason. But yeah, it's very cliche, and I'm not really interested in these two as a couple. As a character, they're fine. Anyway, after they do the thing, after they sleep together, Greek decides to go home, and for whatever reason, Manfred allows her to go alone. Like he could have walked her at least halfway to her house, but no. Anyway, she ends up confronting a mysterious person who, yeah, you look at this person and you could tell right then that that's a vampire. Anyway, Creek isn't someone who is afraid, so she stands up in front of the vampire named Zechariah, I guess. Yeah, Zechariah. And Zechariah, I guess he attacks her. He says that he's joking, but I have a feeling that he attacks her for real. So before he can bite her, Lem comes in and yeah, he saves her, and we find out that Zechariah is actually Lem's old friend, and we get more backstory as the episode progresses. Moving on, Zechariah goes and meets Olivia, and Olivia is not here to make new friends. And I am with Olivia because Zechariah, and he comes with a whole bus filled with vampires, and they're called a vampire nest. So I'm like, I'm not trusting them. So moving on, we get a backstory for Lem, and it seems that he was a slave and he was being tortured, and he decides to run away. And while he's running away, there are rumors about someone who has the power to free them, and that's where he meets Zechariah. And Zechariah, a Native American, ends up turning Lemuel. And I guess this is during 1940s or 1950s, or maybe even before that. I guess it was before that because it was the whole slavery thing, so it was before 1950. We'll get to 1950 in a bit. Moving on, Manfred, the Rev, Fiji, Bobo, and yeah, these people are talking together, and even Creek is in the church, and they're talking about how they can't trust vampires, even though they're Lem's friend. And we also get to find out from Fiji that garlic and holy water don't work. Silver can weaken the vampires, but they need a stake through the heart if they want to be killed. So yeah, moving on, we see that there's also a girl in Lem's group, and Lem knows about this girl. And yeah, Olivia is still not interested because the new arrival lady look basic in front of Olivia, and she's just not here for friends. I guess I don't know who she is, if she is a hit woman or if she's an assassin, but yeah, she trusts her instincts, and her instincts are telling her not to trust these vampires. Moving on, Manfred goes to Olivia for help because Manfred is like, if the vampires killed anyone in the bus, then he'll be able to talk to their ghosts. So Olivia and Manfred goes into the bus, and instead of finding someone dead or spirits, they end up finding a woman who's being drained of her blood. And yeah, Olivia goes and tells Lem about it. This is a thing in the vampire community. Like, as long as they don't kill people, but a person willingly gives them their own blood, it's okay. And that girl or a person who gives them their own blood is known as a groupie. So that was a weird little thing that happens if you are a vampire. Moving on, we get a flashback that after Lem is turned, he goes to the people who owned him, and he gets his revenge, and he kills everyone there, which makes sense. It was okay, I guess, for him to do that. Anyway, so Manfred talks to his grandmother, and her grandmother is like, you need to keep fighting for midnight in order for it to be safe for everyone. Which, yeah, kind of makes sense and kind of doesn't as well. Bobo goes to meet Fiji and he gives him a weapon, and it's a cute little moment. Like, Bobo made a weapon for Fiji. Like, Fiji being a witch, I don't know how much protection she needs from vampires. Like, she could literally crush a car if she wanted to. So if she has any telekinetic powers, I guess vampires would be easy for her to handle. Over at Creek's house, we see Creek is creating stakes, wooden stakes to protect herself, and her teenage brother comes in. And I don't know if everyone in Midnight knows what's actually up, or they just have some weird feeling that there are supernatural entities around. But yeah, even her teenage brother doesn't know much, and Creek doesn't tell him much either. But anyway, the thing that really caught my attention was how her brother mentioned Lem as Uncle Lem. So I don't know how close this family is to Lem, but it was interesting, and maybe we'll find out how close Creek and the rest really are to Lem. Because her brother saying Uncle Lem felt a bit weird to me. Are these like people related somehow? Anyway, we cut to the church and we see Joe confessing to the Rev about how he's a fallen angel and now he's living a grounded life with Chewie, the man he loves and is married to. As for Chewie, he's not in Midnight right now. He's off to some nail con, and I'm like, I need to know how Chewie's nail con went because that's important stuff. But yeah, man, Joe also mentions that he and Chewie might leave. So I'm like, why? Why would Joe want to leave? He knows what's going to happen. He knows about the prophecy. He's been through it before. So why does he need to leave? And yeah, with the whole this series going in the direction of telling us backstories about characters one by one. Episode 2 was about Rev a bit, and now episode 3 is about Lem. I'm excited to see the episode where we get to know more about Joe and why he doesn't feel like he needs to stick around to fight the demons when that veil is finally broken. Moving on, Manfred goes to the hardware store to get some supplies, and a vampire attacks him. The owner is already dead, so a vampire attacks Manfred as well. And Manfred kills the vampire with a pencil right through its heart. And over at Fiji's house, Bobo is like, we need weapons, we need to be prepared, and Fiji needs to think of something, be creative. And Fiji's like, I'll be creative. And that's the weird, excited smile that I like on this character. So we see that again. And this smile means that Fiji has thought of something. Moving on, we get a conversation between Lem and Olivia and Zechariah and his girl about whether or not Olivia wants to be turned. But yeah, Olivia is not interested in turning just yet. Maybe she will down the line, but for right now, I prefer Olivia as a badass female human being. We get a backstory about how Lem was able to get his energy leeching power. So it turned out that young Zilda, way back in the 1950s, these two met each other, and Zilda was presented to Lem as food. But Lem doesn't want the life of a vampire. He doesn't want to kill people to survive. So Zilda ends up giving him the power to leech energy. We don't know how the whole ritual or process worked. We just know that now Lem is able to even kill vampires. And that's the reason that vampires have stayed away from Midnight, because they know the Lem is there and he can kill them. So yeah, and now that he has the power, Lem's eyes have changed to blue, so that's cool. Moving on, Zechariah is like, yeah, I'll leave because Lem doesn't want anybody here. But before Zechariah leaves, he offers Lem a drink. And I was like, Lem, you don't need to drink that. It's probably poisoned. And yeah, the drink was poisoned with silver. So now Lem is weakened and he's unable to do anything. Over there, the girl tries to attack Olivia, and Olivia is like, nah. And she punches that girl right in the face, and then she does a sweep kick, and the girl falls, and then she ends up killing her with her heel. And I'm like, yes, Olivia, you are awesome. And apparently, the actress did all of this in heels, like she did all of her stunts. So that's impressive. We also get a scene where everyone is in the church waiting with Rev because the church is a protected place. But Creek and her family haven't left, so we get a scene where Manfred goes to get Creek, and yeah, Creek's father is not interested in Manfred. He doesn't like him. He's doing so much to hate Manfred, and I'm just like yawn because this is all cliche. We have seen this before. Just move on with it. Over at Fiji's house, Fiji ends up giving a sunstone to Bobo, and they connect it to some sort of a flashlight. So that light now mimics ultraviolet rays or the rays of a sun. So I just hope that these ultraviolet rays that are happening or this light is able to produce, they don't end up giving skin cancer to the characters. Moving on, Zechariah wants to kill Lem because if Lem's dead, then Zechariah and his nest will be able to live in midnight like they did before back in the 1950s. So yeah, Olivia goes to the pawn shop or the antique shop to get a bigger flashlight, but a vampire attacks her and she ends up getting injured. Lights up. So yeah, now they need a flashlight, but they also need a distraction because they need all of the vampires to be in one spot. So Manfred comes up with a plan that he'll lure Zechariah out by faking that he's able to give the same power that his grandmother gave to Lem, and that works. And all of the vampires are out on the street. Joe, on the other hand, due to Rev talking to him, he decides to help out as well. So Joe flies with the flashlight, and I'm like, yeah, it's nice to see that Joe, even with his angel wings, has arms because back in episode 1 we saw him transform, I was like, he looks like a harpy rather than an angel because the wings were covering his arms. So this is good that he's still able to retain the use of his arms even when he's flying. So he goes up into the highest point and he flashes the light, and yeah, the vampires burn and midnight is saved. Over in the room where Lem is locked, Olivia comes in and she tries to help Lem, but she's too weak because she can't break the chains, and she ends up giving her own blood to Lem, and that strengthens Lem and he's able to break free before the sun shines through. So yeah, now that they're saved, we get a few little character moments. One of them was between Fiji and Bobo. Like, Fiji romantically likes Bobo, but yeah, Fiji got friend zoned so bad in this episode. Like, I felt bad for her, but then again, I felt for Bobo as well because Aubrey, he kind of loved Aubrey, his fiance, but she died, so I guess he needs time to move on. But yeah, Fiji got friend zoned, and this face is everything. Moving on, we also get a scene between Creek and her father about him not wanting her to sleep with Manfred, and I'm like, again, yawn, it's boring. I don't know what this guy has against Manfred. Maybe he knows something that we don't know, and that's why he doesn't want Creek to be involved with Manfred. So yeah, let's see what happens there. It ends with the girl. I'm not sure who she is, but I guess she was the same girl who was a groupie in Zechariah's bus. Anyway, she's walking on a road and she asks for a lift, and a truck halts, and yeah, apparently that person in the truck is a vampire of some sort, and he ends up attacking the girl. So yeah, that's that for episode number 3 of Midnight Texas season 1. I enjoyed this episode. It was fun. The good thing is that even though Manfred is supposed to be the main hero, the rest of the characters get to shine as well, and that's interesting to see because a show can't really succeed with only one character. All of the characters need to be fleshed out, and that's what the writers of Midnight Texas have done so well, that they're slowly starting to flesh out the rest of the characters, and that's why this show is enjoyable even 3 episodes in. Anyway, let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below, and until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed, and see you guys later.